Hey, I'm Alex Ratcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is another week in review, going over game news, and there's a lot of game news this week. In fact, we're skipping the topic of the week this week, and there's going to be an entire segment talking about more upcoming Kickstarters for October, because apparently 15 people decided to announce their dates after I did my video. It is what it is. It's unfortunate. Anyways, let's go ahead and go into this. As usual, this is the game news and week in review, the regular Saturday segment. If you're new to the channel, and if you're not new to the channel and you never realized, well, every Saturday at 10 a.m. we do game news and week in review. And starting off with the news, we're going to start off first and foremost, timestamps to everything down below, from the videos to the news, Kickstarters, whatever we have. But starting off, we're going to have Stonemaier Games is doing their regular yearly charity auction. And this one I'm, selfishly motivated. Well, I don't know if I'm let's go ahead and explain. Let's explain what I'm talking about. Every single year, Jamie Stegmaier, Stonemaier Games, does a charity auction where they raise money for charity. They give off, goodies and games and things and stuff like that, and then they also match the various donations involved up to $1,000 per bid across, I believe, 12 bids. That's $12,000 from them plus whatever else is raised, plus they have another match. Whole bunch of details over there. They run this over on Board Game Geek, and every year they do this by choosing content creators at the same time, and they pair a content creator with a package, and everyone can go bid. And ideally, you're getting a package of a few $100s worth of games, but ideally, if you're bidding, it's for the games and also to support the charity. This year, I was picked as one of those content creators, which is why I said selfishly, but I'm not sure if I actually get anything. It's really just for charity, and so it's a little bit of a, he's running a promotional thing, but me talking about it here is, sending you there, not sending his stuff here, which is why I'm not sure if this conversation is selfishly motivated. The general concept is perhaps I'm losing track. Either way, point is, if you want to go ahead and support any one of, I think a dozen different charities, there's a bunch of content creators out there, Thinker Themer's on there, Tim Chun's on there, I'm on there, 9 other content creators, Carly from Instagram, a whole bunch of content creators are over there on the thread. You can go check them out. Now, first and foremost, even if you don't want to bid, even just thumbing each Geek List item is going to help, because they're going to be donating extra for each thumb. So I think it's for each thumb. There's terms and conditions. It might be the most picked thumb, but either way, even just thumbing does help to a degree. Just that it helps add to the donations that are being given. And additionally, if you want to, win a bunch of games, including the unreleased Tapestry expansion. So I believe that the 12 people who win these auctions are going to be amongst the first people, possibly before even content creators, who have the Tapestry expansion. So if you want that, you can go ahead and check that out. But I'll include a link to that down below. It's the Stonemaier Games charity auction for a whole bunch of charities. The charity I chose, in case you're wondering, is what he does is he has the content creator choose a charity that they resonates with them. I chose the the Jack Vassal Memorial Fund. The Jack Vassal Memorial Fund, which Tom Vassal started because he had a son who passed away, I believe, in his first year, and he started a fund to help gamers in need. It's specifically a fund around helping board gamers who are in tough spots and need a little support. And I like the idea of that. I like the idea of a charity around the tribe of, all of us. But anyways, that's that. Moving on from there, we had Time Magazine, which is a fairly big magazine. You may have heard of it. They put out an article about the shipping crisis going on affecting the board game space. Talking about a variety of publishers, interviews with them, how it's affected them, the cost of shipping. We had Fireside Games, done Castle Panic, they're in there. A company in there that does a mech game, I believe, I can't remember what it was, but it possibly closing down because of the shipping crisis. Basically, the shipping crisis that we've talked about in general, about how containers have gone from being $2,000 to $3,000 for a container to being $20,000 for a container, and that's a good day. You might even get a quote for $35,000 for a container to ship your product, which is like a 10 times price increase from what it used to be, which is really not good for those who are planning on, running Kickstarters, or who already sold product and now rely on having no profit margins, and or asking their audience for funds, and or selling promos. From large companies to small companies are in a tough spot with the shipping crisis. Now, going forward, we're all in a tough spot. In the past, companies are in a tough spot because they sold something for a lower price than it should have been compared to what we know now. Going forward, we're all in a tough spot because going forward, those prices are going to be passed on to you in terms of raising prices. It talks about in the article, Spirit Island raised their MSRP by $10 because they have to. They're paying that much more for getting the containers over. I mean, the cost per unit is not $10. Cost per unit on a game is going to run, it varies by game, but even so, they're they're raising the prices to account for those. And then in Kickstarters, we're already seeing prices go up in Kickstarters. In case you have been watching my Monday 2 back or not to back, you know that prices are going up across the board, and it's not ideal. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. Then lastly, in terms of news, this is not really news. This is basically Room and Board, a channel that I've been talking about recently, a YouTube channel that one of the things they do a few things, but one of the things they do is they do a Monday video covering the last 7 days of a Kickstarter. You know, hey, this Kickstarter is ending in the next week. Let's talk about what we know based on, well, what's been added, what's been unlocked, all the stuff that you want at the end of the life cycle of a Kickstarter as opposed to early on. And he has a video with, well, myself. I was down in Toronto. He's in Toronto, in case you're wondering. And I did a bit of a video collaboration with him, talking about what size is the perfect game collection. You can go ahead and check that out. And in fact, in the next week or two, there's going to be a video on my channel with him talking about the 10 worst games in his collection. And that's a fun video. You should watch that when it goes up. I think it's going to be the week after this. I'm not entirely sure. It's a jam-packed week. Trying to fit in all the videos is tough. Then from there, we move on to game announcements. Game announcements are going to be as follows. A variety of game and updates and things. First of all, we have Call of Cthulhu. Sandy Peterson Games is going to be putting out a Call of Cthulhu card game. So different than the Fantasy Flight one, whole different game, but basically a Call of Cthulhu card game coming to you from Peterson Games. We have Rage of Tyranny from Too Many Bones. Basically, Too Many Bones, who they're having a Game Found campaign on October 20-something, sometime early October. We're going to have the Game Found campaign for Too Many Bones Unbreakable, and they teased the Rage of Tyranny expansion. If you know Too Many Bones, you already know about the Age of Tyranny expansion. This looks like we're having the Rage of Tyranny optional buy expansion something. So again, this is just going to be way too many Bones content for your Too Many Bones collection that will fit into your Too Many Bones trove chest. That's going to be that. We have a solo and 2-player mode for Concordia. An expansion that adds a solo and 2-player mode to Concordia is coming out. You can check that out in case you really like Concordia, but you don't like the fact that you can't really play it solo and it's not that great at 2 players, so we'll have that. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I have no idea, but it's interesting at the very least. We have a limited edition Ghostbusters set is going to be coming. Ghostbuster packs are going to be coming to us from Zombicide. Basically, Zombicide, they did this a while ago. They did a line of a bunch of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ghostbusters packs, heroes and abominations that you can get your hands on. And then now they're doing the same idea. By the time you watch this, it may already be sold out, so I apologize in advance if that's the case. On the off chance it hasn't sold out, they're doing a Ghostbuster pack. If you're interested or not interested, if for even a second you think you might be interested in the future, get them now because it's much cheaper right now than it will be on the aftermarket. People buy those things up like crazy, and then they turn around and sell them on eBay, and then we get into the conversation about scalpers, which we're not going to do right now. But either way, if you're interested in those or think you ever will be, you should pick those up. And speaking of speaking of, that's not true, let me try that again. Speaking of CMON announced at the end of their last Kickstarter, at the end of Master of the Universe Clash for Eternity, at the end of that campaign, they did what they usually do, which is the last update has a slight teaser to what's coming next. Sometimes it has a full-on announcement of what's coming next. In this case, it was more of the slight teaser category. I'm probably including something like this in the title, but in the title of this video. But effectively, they said they're teaming up with Spin Master for their 50th campaign, and they're doing something with Spin Master. Now, if you don't know, Spin Master is the company that CMON teamed up with for Marvel United and Marvel United X-Men, which means they're teaming up with Spin Master again for something big. It's too soon for another Marvel United. I think, right? It's gotta be. I don't think it's gonna be a Fantastic Four either. What if it's DC? What if it's DC United? Is that a thing we're gonna see? What if it's a whole different game, an engine? I don't know. I don't know what's coming to Kickstarter from CMON. I know that I'll probably end up hating myself a little bit after I spend that much money on it, because I definitely don't need DC United. Unless they make it a totally different game, I definitely don't need another version of Marvel United. We have Marvel United, we have X-Men United. I don't need DC United. And Lord knows I'll probably back it anyway. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens. We'll throw something. I'll probably have in the title of this video like DC United ? Because it actually might be. It's not just clickbait. It actually might be DC United. I don't know what to think. I'm worried. I hope it's not. I hope it's something different. But I don't know if it will be. We'll see. Maybe they're going to do like a Marvel Zombicide. Oh my gosh. No. It's Marvel Zombicide, isn't it? It's definitely Marvel Zombicide. So here's the other tip that we know. It's too soon for Zombicide. You're watching me like wrestle and agonize on myself on camera, but I'm going to stick with this because here's what I know. I know that in a video they did, CMON, they talked about how their 50th Kickstarter is going to be like true to CMON's roots. That's what they said. They said something along those lines. Something that sounded like a bit of a hint to the fact that it's something they'd be known for. And then when I saw the Spin Master, I was like, Marvel United? That's not what you're known for. What if it's Zombicide Marvel? It is definitely I hope I'm right. I hope it's Marvel Zombicide. I don't know. We're moving on. We're moving past the segment. I'm going to leave you wondering which one of those it is, or neither entirely. But it's going to be Marvel Zombicide. I'm sure someone said this already, by the way. I am certain people have already put this together. I'm late to the party, but I don't care. This is very cool for me. It's not going to be Marvel Zombicide. Anyways, moving on. And lastly, we have Resident Evil. Resident Evil announced that they are going to company names, mixing them up. We have Steamforged Games announcing that they're doing a Resident Evil Kickstarter campaign. If you're confused because you're like, they've done a Resident Evil Kickstarter campaign twice, they have. They did Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. Now they're going back to the original Resident Evil. So they're doing the original Resident Evil as a Kickstarter campaign, which will have the miniatures and the cooperative gameplay and all those stuff. But that's going to be coming to Kickstarter. I assume Kickstarter, maybe GameFound. I assume Kickstarter. Who knows nowadays? And that's going to be all of the game announcements, which is going to move us directly into the topic of the week, which is not really going to be that much of a topic, except I'm going to be talking about some stuff, including Marvel again. Marvel's very present here. But basically, we're going to be going through a bunch of upcoming Kickstarters. Kickstarters that did not have the decency to give me information or dates so that I could talk about them in my Kickstarters for October video that I did recently. So instead, we're going to talk about it now. And possibly Monday again when I do my to back or not to back. But basically, we have like 10 different Kickstarters that are coming up. One of them is going to be in November. We'll talk about that one. That's not like actually late, but I'm just going to talk about it as part of the news segment of things. But we have the following. On October 12th, we have a Board Games Table Kickstarter that just announced. Just got the email today. Today is Thursday for me. And that's going to be Dandelion and Psychic Pizza Deliveries Go to Ghost Town. That's literally the name of the game. Psychic Pizza Deliveries Go to Ghost Town. Fortunately, they just recently missed the Dice Tower's top 10 terrible board game names, because this would definitely make the list. Although it's actually a reprint, so technically it should have made the list already. Dandelion's going to be, it seems to be fitting into their line of Mountain Goats, Sequoia, and GPS. Same box, same art style, versus Psychic Pizza Deliveries looks like a totally different game entirely. They're doing a Kickstarter around that. We'll see how it goes. I mean, Board Game Tables Kickstarters generally go pretty well. They do a good job bringing games bringing like lighter games to the public in a way that they do fairly well. And so that's going to be coming October 12th. We have Gartenbau coming from 25th Century Games, coming to Kickstarter October 12th. I don't know much about the game. It has flowers on tiles. Looks cool. We'll check it out more when it launches. That's going to be Gartenbau from 25th Century Games. We have Bardwood Grove, which I already knew about this one, but I just didn't have a date. The date seems to be October 12th, although this part's weird because I saw October 12th as the date, and then I saw the designer, Carl von Ostrand, saying that it is October 13th. So one of those two dates, we have Bardwood Grove coming to Kickstarter. We have Circadians Chaos Order. That's going to be coming to Kickstarter October 19th. We have Small Railroad Empires. That's going to be from Magna Roma Games. Nope. What's the name of the game? Magna Roma was the name of the game. Arkham Games, maybe it's Arkham Games. Arkham Games coming to you with Small Railroad Empires, an expansion to Small Railroad Empires and reprint, October 20th on Kickstarter. We have Dice Throne Marvel. That's a big one. Dice Throne Marvel. I don't even know what the title of this video is going to be. It's going to be like Dice Throne Marvel, Zombicide Marvel, DC Unite, a whole bunch of question marks, some of which we know for facts, like we know that Dice Throne Marvel is going to be a thing on Kickstarter. This is going to be coming to you from Roxley Games in association with Spin Master, because license for Marvel. And they're going to be bringing you Dice Throne Marvel. If you like Dice Throne, which I like Dice Throne, and if you like Marvel, which I like Marvel, this is going to be combining those characters, or some of those characters, with your Dice Throne universe. And no, they've already confirmed it's not a straight reskin. It's not taking exact characters and then reskinning them. New characters. I don't know if there's new mechanics, new changes. I don't know any of that. But I do know it's Dice Throne Marvel. Characters too yet to be announced, so we'll find out more of the characters as they announce them. I don't know if it's going to be 2 characters, 4, 8, 15, 16, 32, or what is it? 0, 8, 15, 16, 32. Is that what it is? That's the numbers, right? That's lost right there. Anyways, Dice Throne Marvel coming to Kickstarter October 25th. We have Hegemony coming to Kickstarter October 26th. This is going to be an asymmetric game of basically, I've talked about it briefly. I have a copy somewhere on my shelves over here. I've played it. I need to play it more. I'll have a review for that one. But they announced the Kickstarter date, October 26th. It's going to be asymmetric about basically classes of, you have, the middle class, the working class, the upper class, whatever, they have a different name for it. And then the state. They're going to be managing the economy of a, state. That's going to be that. And then we have October 26th is going to be Rocket Cats. Rocket Cats is going, and I think this October 26th is a chance to pushing this one off. But Rocket Cats is going to be coming to you from Ginger Snap Gaming, who they just have brought you Ignite. They told their backers a long time ago that they're not doing another Kickstarter until Ignite delivered. And Ignite finally is delivering. They stuck with their promise all the way through the world ending and COVID and delays and all that. And they stuck with it. Kudos to them for doing that. But they have Rocket Cats coming to Kickstarter October 26th. A game of programming. I think Robo Rally combined with Worms, and that's kind of the Worms the video game. And that's kind of the vibe they are going for there. Then we have October 26th is going to be Escape from Arkham Asylum. This is going to be coming to you from Night Models Games. They recently did the Harry Potter game, and they're coming to Kickstarter with what they aim to be the biggest Batman Kickstarter game thingamajiggy. But yeah, Escape from Arkham Asylum. I believe it's a cooperative experience where you play as the villains trying to escape from Arkham Asylum. And then lastly, we have November 9th coming to you with Hamlet. This is going to be, again, this is not in October. This is actually totally fine in terms of dates, but I found out about it. So we're talking about Hamlet. That's going to be coming to Kickstarter November 9th. And that is basically our topic of the week. But can we just talk about Dice Throne Marvel again? Because all this Marvel stuff, I really like Marvel apparently. I don't know if I do. I like Marvel. I like it when you take an IP I like and throw it onto gameplay I like. Like, I don't care about 5-minute Marvel for context. I don't have 5-minute Marvel because I didn't like the game 5-minute Dungeon or whatever, 5-minute whatever. I thought it was fine. It's not that I didn't like it. But if you take a game I like and you throw an IP I like onto that, then yeah, I definitely do like it. I'm really excited for Zombicide Marvel. If that's going to be a thing, I really hope it's a thing. Come on, can you make it a thing? Talk to Spin Master. You can make it happen. Or do you... Maybe not. I wonder who counts as having the... No, they could do that. They should be able to do it. I'm just thinking licensing, because I know that Fantasy Flight has the licensing to Marvel Miniatures, but Marvel Miniatures is different than a Marvel board game with miniatures. Those are two different things for licensing purposes. This stuff gets very interesting very fast. You can have different licenses for board games, for miniatures, and for miniatures. Board games, miniatures, and card games can all be totally different licensing departments. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the week in review, which means I need to pull out my phone and figure out what I've played in the past week. So, let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and find my little app where I go through what I logged or hopefully remember to log. And let's go ahead all the way back to Monday. Wow, because I have to remember, I filmed a whole bunch of stuff. My weekend review last week was filmed really early in the week, which means I'm going through all this stuff. And so we have the following. We have Magical Friends and How to Summon Them, which I played last week. We have Mythwind. We got a bunch of plays of Mythwind in. We talked about that this past week. We'll get to that when we talk about, the videos of the week. I had Land vs. Sea. Got another play of Land vs. Sea. Still really enjoying that one. Dog Lover. Dog Lover is going to be the re-release game the sequel or follow-up to Cat Lover from AEG. Different mechanics. I'll have a review of it. I'll talk about it in my review. I'll have a review of it. Solid game. We'll talk about which one I like more in my review. More plays of Megapulse. Got to play of Megapulse over there. We got in Power Plants. Power Plants is going to be an upcoming KTBG board game. The Quacks of Quedlinburg. Got another play of that with my daughter Ricky and my wife Rena. Ricky really likes that one. She's been asking for it a lot since she played it the first time. We have Colorado. And actually, this is the first time I played Quacks of Quedlinburg with the Herb Witches expansion, which was nice. I liked it. It didn't do anything amazing for me, but I enjoyed it. We have Colorado. Gotten a few plays of that. Been a while since I pulled that one out. Still always a solid game. In fact, to the point that I decided to do a bunch of small box game reviews, including that and some others. So we'll be talking about that in, some small box game review video I do at some point. Gotten a few plays of City of the Great Machine. We'll talk about that at some point. I'm going to wait for them. They canceled the Kickstarter. Gotten a few plays of that one because I did a play with Quacklope and then a follow-up play where we did a film play. And so I will talk about that one. I'm not reviewing the game, but I will talk about my experience with the game. We have Luna, and they canceled the Kickstarter for context. They're going to be relaunching probably mid to late October. We'll see how that goes. Luna Capital, gotten another play of that from Devere Games. Solid game, still enjoying it. We have Silk from Devere Games, which I did not love. It wasn't bad. In fact, the gameplay was arguably entertaining, but it was more entertaining because of the people involved. The gameplay itself, I thought, was okay. Not bad, okay. Solid 3 out of 5 if I were rating it, but I only played one game, so I'm not rating it. We have Drop Drive. Got a play of Drop Drive, which is going to be, well, Drop Drive is going to be the Kickstarter. I did a review of that. We'll talk about that as well. Another play of Drop Drive. We have Honga. Honga is going to be from Hava Games. It's a game I played with my kids. I'll probably be reviewing it on the channel at some point. We'll see. We'll get to it. We have Paint the Roses. Paint the Roses is going to be from I talked about this one a few times. In fact, Paint the Roses is going to be coming to you from North Star Games. It's an upcoming Kickstarter. It's one I've talked about a few times. Deduction game. Really enjoying it, that one. I will have a review of that going up later today, I'm pretty sure. So you can keep your eyes peeled for that. We have Sagrada. Gotten a play of Sagrada. It's been a while since I played Sagrada last, but gotten a play of Sagrada. We have Vagrant Song. Gotten another play of Vagrant Song, this time with Jesse, with Quackalope. We have Fire Tower. So I played Fire Tower at the convention. I went to Origins. I played Fire Tower at the convention. We have Titania Ascending. Titania Ascending is going to be an upcoming Kickstarter. It's going to be a roll and write from XYZ Game Labs, a cooperative roll and write, although not really a roll and write, a flip and write, a cooperative flip and write game. We'll talk about that one. We have the Stuff of Legend. Gotten a play of the Stuff of Legend. That's going to be the game currently on Kickstarter. Half a play, really. We didn't get to finish it. We need to go back to that one. We have Land vs. Sea. Like another play of Land vs. Sea. We have Dog Lover again. We have King Hill. Okay, so King Hill I've talked about in the past. Another upcoming Kickstarter later in October. A solid 2-player game. Lots going on in the game, but really enjoy it. We have K3. K3 is going to be an abstract game from, I always forget their name. Oh my gosh, I always forget the names. I'm blanking on the name, but I got in a play of K3, as well as Dice Trip Belgian from the same company that I'm forgetting their name. Helvetique, that's what it is. So I got K3 and Dice Trip Belgian. Another play of Fire Tower. Then we have Renature, plus another play of Renature, plus a play of Caressus, The Quest for the Elements, another upcoming Kickstarter. Renature is going to be from Capstone Games. We'll be talking about that one, well, later today. It's actually videos going up later today. And then we have Caressus, which is upcoming Kickstarter. Fire Tower we're enjoying. I'll have a review content on it soon. I just want to play it with more player counts first. Dice Trip Belgium, K3 will likely be in videos as well. K3 I actually put into the 5 small box game reviews. King Hill I'll be covering. Land vs. Sea, I will have a review. Did I film my Land vs. Sea review? I think I did. I did film it. I didn't edit it. That'll be going up later at some point. I'm trying to get ahead of content, so I want to get ahead on content. And that is going to be all the stuff I played in the past, week and a half this time. From there, let's go ahead and move into the week in review. The videos of the week, all of that stuff. And to begin with, we have Saturday. I had a review of Drop Drive. Drop Drive is a fun little game from the same creator as Dungeon Drop, and Drop Drive is basically taking it to space. I enjoy it. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed the game. Not one I'm in a rush to necessarily add to my collection. Like, I'd happily play it, but I really need to free up space on these shelves. It's getting harder and harder to justify keeping any 3s that my kids don't want. Although now that I think about it, maybe I am keeping that Drop Drive because I know Ricky wanted it. Ricky wanted to get our hands on Drop Drive, so maybe we will keep it. I'll have to make a decision on that one. Either way, Drop Drive, we'll see how that goes. Then we had Realistic Resources. Later on Saturday, last week, I did a video on the Realistic Resources from Top Shelf Gamer. They have an active Kickstarter going on. I cover their, Realistic Resources line. A bunch of boxes full of gorgeous upgraded resources for various games you can combine and contrast with whatever. Personally speaking, for myself, I prefer getting the bagged resources by actual game as opposed to getting them in terms of a single box set. But if you want the single box set option, you can go ahead and get those. Then on Sunday was going to be the best 10 games at Origins that you could buy right now. It was a video covering the 10 best games that I've played, all caveats in place. Like, they had to be games I played. So that means almost inherently they weren't like the newest hotness at Origins, because I wasn't trying to sell people on the newest hotness. I was trying to sell people on last year's hotness that has been well validated, well vetted, and is still sticking around. Because the newest hotness, as intriguing as it is, the newest hotness, it goes away fairly quickly. Me talking about 10 games that have stood the test of, a year in some cases, is significantly better than the 10 hottest games at Origins right now that half of them you won't be talking about in a year, the other half you won't be talking about in 2 years. Lots of games come out every single year. They're always exciting. And most games fade from our collective imaginations as soon as the first print run is done. Doesn't mean they're bad games. There's a whole lot of 3s out there, and there's a whole lot of games that are 4s, but only 4s for certain people, not for others. Games go away all the time. So that was Sunday's video, top 10 games that you could buy at Origins from last year, but that were at Origins this year. We had Honeybuzz, we had Airland and Sea, we had, what else? We had Aquatica. We had Lost Ruins of Arnak, a whole bunch of games that you can get your hands on. Then on Monday we had To Back or Not to Back, a whole bunch of games that I'm intrigued by. The two that I think I'm backing, I think might be more, I have to double check, but Beast is for sure getting that one. Really solid game, and my biggest complaints about it when we reviewed it, they are already addressing it in the stretch goals, so color me even more interested in Beast. That's going to be a hidden movement, one versus many game. Then there's also Keep the Heroes Out, which looks like a cooperative game where you play as the monsters in a little bit of a deck building experience. Looks like a cute little game. I wasn't on my radar at all, but the game looks adorable, and I think I'd enjoy playing with my family, so I might get it. Probably shouldn't. I probably shouldn't. There's probably a 3 that I would forget about in a year and a half. But I might get it. We'll see. We'll see how things go. And then on Tuesday we had three videos as usual. In case you haven't figured out the general cycle of the channel, is on Saturdays and Tuesdays we have 3 videos each. Saturday's going to be the week in review, plus 2 either gameplays or reviews, and then Tuesday's going to be, again, gameplays and reviews. Sometimes unboxings get thrown in there as well. And this past Tuesday we actually had, speaking of which, we had an unboxing. We had Magical Friends and Where to Summon Them, I think it was. I think that's what it's called. Magical Friends is what I've been calling it. Had a review for that one. That's a current Kickstarter. It's about 60% funded right now when you're watching this video. I think it'll fund in time. I hope it does, but it's a fun little game. It's like Small World meets a racing game. Then and then as far as keeping it, I usually tell you what I'm keeping it. I gave that one a 3, but I was very on the fence in terms of whether it's a 3 or a 4. One of the things that held it back for me is the components, the prototype components, and I'm not sure the final game might be the same problem. It doesn't feel like a premium deluxe game. It feels like a passion project on the side, which I respect the passion project, but I kind of want my games to feel like they're premium games. So I am a little bit on the fence between the art style, the components, and how it plays out. I really like it. I can see it growing to a 4. I still don't know whether I'm getting it long term, whether I'm backing it or all of that. Hopefully the Kickstarter funds. I think it's a solid game. Then from there we had an unboxing for Ignite again on Tuesday. Ignite is going to be from, like I said, Ginger Snap Gaming. Their Kickstarter landed and I unboxed Ignite. I've already played it before on TTS. I need to sleeve all the cards, sort all the cards, then sleeve all the cards, and then play that game. But that's going to be Ignite. So from Ginger Snap Gaming, we had an unboxing video. And then lastly on Tuesday, we had a review for Mythwind. And more of a first impressions than a review. Mythwind is a game that is very intriguing. That I love the premise of what they're going for. Mythwind, by the way, is a currently active Kickstarter. 6,000 backers, $500,000 raised. They're doing very well. But overall, Mythwind is a game that one of the intriguing parts of it is it's cooperative with asymmetric characters, but it has a game that you don't lose and you don't win. You just keep playing. Think Stardew Valley. Think, what's it called? What's the Animal Crossing? Games like that. And the premise is incredibly intriguing, but for myself, I need that direction. I need something. Having played it, we went through like a bunch of games, and then we read through the rest of the campaign cards just to get a feel for how things play out. I need the feeling of actually building out things for a reason. I need the challenge of doing something efficiently, because if I don't, I lose. And I need that extra drive in there. But then again, the way I put it in my first impressions is I'm not somebody who plays Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing. And so it's hard to say, like, I'm very curious if an Animal Crossing Stardew Valley fan plays Mythwind, whether it checks those boxes. I'm very curious. For myself, I find Mythwind incredibly intriguing, and I find myself wanting to make I want them to make small adjustments to the game so that it's a game I want to dive back into. Where it is right now is it's one that it's a solid game, but not one I would currently back because I need the direction. Weird spot for me in that game. Simultaneously impressed by what they're doing, while also feeling it's not a game for me. From there, we have Wednesday. Wednesday was going to be the 10 games I will never get rid of. And never does not mean never. Never means I currently believe I won't get rid of them. In fact, a follow-up video that I'll probably be doing in the next... I have a lot of lists coming in the next few weeks. I don't know when. Sometime in the future, I'll have a follow-up video called 10 games I thought I would never get rid of and did. And that's going to be, like you can imagine, 10 games I thought I would never get rid of and I still did. Thus proving that this list of games that I said on Wednesday that I'm never getting rid of is not necessarily true. Now, it's to be clear, this video was not my top 10 games of all time. In fact, specifically, people noticed some of my top 10 games were gone. And they asked about those. And I said in the opening of the video, it's not my top 10 list of games of all time. A good example is going to be Inish and Cyclades. Cyclades is in that video. I don't think I'm ever getting rid of Cyclades. But Inish is not in that video. But I still rank Inish higher than Cyclades. And the reason for that is something about the gameplay styles of the two games. Even though I like Inish more, I think that Cyclades is safer long term. Also, Marvel United was in that video. Marvel United was in the video, and Marvel United is a game that I rank as a 4, not even a 5. There's plenty of 5s that didn't make their way into the video. But Marvel United has an accessibility that lets me pull it out with a lot of different people while enjoying it myself, and a ton of variability, so I don't see myself ever getting rid of Marvel United. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it happening. So either way, not really a top 10 list, but more of a games that I don't think I'd get rid of, and why, going into each one of those. And then who knows, maybe in next month they'll be in one of my games leaving the collection. It's not going to be next month. It might happen. It's not going to be next month if it does. Anyways, that was Wednesday. Then on Thursday was going to be Voidfall and Fractal. It's okay, so Thursday was, should you back it for Voidfall and Fractal? Fractal Beyond the Void. It wasn't really a typical should you back it, nor was it a play this, not that. But it was comparing the two games because they're both active. They're both active Kickstarters in the 4X genre with a space theme game doing different things in the space. I go through all the comparisons from price point to shipping to VAT to gameplay to solo modes to cooperatives to campaign. I go through all the combination points that I can think of in terms of comparing the games and trying to determine which one is right for you. Which, personally speaking, I found very helpful for myself because I walked away believing that Fractal is the one that's right for me. Now, Voidfall still intrigues me. If I had to pick one right now, it would be Fractal, but Voidfall definitely is very, very, very compelling at the same time. So you can check that out if you want to see which one's right for you. Just based on backer count, far more people are backing Voidfall. So it seems like for most people, Voidfall might be the right choice. But for myself, it's Fractal. Although again, that might change. We'll have to see how things go. But either way, that's going to be, in case you're interested in making a decision around there of which one of those or both or neither is right for you, that's going to be a video for you. Or there's Eclipse, or there's a whole bunch of other games, Exodus, or there's Twilight Imperium, or there's Warpgate, which I don't know if Warpgate is a 4X, might be, I don't know. Either way, tons of different options out there for your gaming choices. And then on Friday I had a video covering my Origins haul, what I came back with from Origins, while also talking about my experience at Origins, including my car completely breaking down while I'm out of town in a different city and having some issues there, and a little bit of terror while I'm trying to enjoy the convention. But that is going to be my Origins con and Origins haul and first convention details, stuff like that. Either way, you can check that out if you haven't already. Which brings us to today. Today is going to be this video, followed by a gameplay going up at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a gameplay of Renature that I did with Rena. It's going to be Renature. You can check that out. That's going to be from Capstone Games. And then we have a review for Paint the Roses from North Star Games. Review of Paint the Roses, the deduction game, all of that. You can check that out. That's going to be going up later today. And then next week, later this week, or next week, that's the word I'm looking for. Next week's going to be a few different things. We're going to have games leaving my collection for October. Nope, that's not true. For September. Games leaving my collection for September, as well as top 10 Essen games I'm looking forward to, or I'm not going to Essen, to be clear, but I still want to talk about some of the games that they'll be showing off there, as well as a Lords of Ragnarok unboxing. That's right, there's going to be a Lords of Ragnarok from Awakened Realms on GameFound later in October. There's going to be an unboxing of that. The miniatures are straight up gorgeous. I'll tell you that right now. Miniatures are gorgeous. Granted, it's a prototype, but those look all pretty like and everything. But either way, that's going to be going up. Some of the videos going up this week. Which brings us to finally the games on the table. Talking about the games on the table, which is always games I'm hoping to, play this week. And we'll see which ones I actually do, because this week, the backlog of things that I need to play, I came back with all these games from Origins. I've already played some of them. I have so many games that I need to play. I'm staying ahead of my Kickstarter deadlines, so I'm still fine there, but I'm trying to be aggressively ahead. I don't like it. The problem is if you're not aggressively ahead, what happens is you find out that you have a Kickstarter in a week and a half and you haven't even played the game yet, and then you have to kind of get like 3 or 4 plays in a short period of time, which is not fun, and it takes away from the experience of the way I typically like to play games. Ideally, I like to get my plays in more naturally. It's never perfectly naturally because I always know I have deadlines, but I like to spread it out. Give me the game a month and a half beforehand and I'll get a game in this week and a game in next week and get to that. Either way, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's talk about the games that we're talking about. We have Rocket Cats, which I've been holding on to this prototype for a year and haven't played it. And now we have the Kickstarter coming up in another 2 weeks. So yay, 3 weeks. 3 weeks-ish. So yeah, I gotta play Rocket Cats. We'll be getting some games into that. We have Rolling Heights from John D. Clare and AEG. This is going to be an upcoming Kickstarter in 2022, I believe. I'm pretty sure. I think in January, maybe not, don't listen to me. But either way, this is one of those games where I have time with it, so I want to play it and start getting in my plays of it now. We have Cora. This is going to be from Yellow. It's their expert line. This is probably the one that I'm least likely to play from these 5 on the table, but I do want to play it. I saw it being played on the Summit Spectacular on the Dice Tower. I saw it being played at Origins. I want to play it, so we'll talk about that. We have Rift Force. This is going to be another Capstone Games. I just talked about Renature. Rift Force is going to be a 2-player, head-to-head, mage dueling, kind of a little out of the line of what Capstone normally does. But then again, Capstone in general has been branching out to a variety of different types of games. Family weight games, card-based games, party games. They're really branching out in their lineups to offer a lot more variety. And then finally, we got Enchanted Plumes. This is going to be from Calliope Games. This is one that I covered the Kickstarter a while ago, and this finally just showed up. This is my favorite game from that Kickstarter. They had Enchanted Plumes, they had Mass Transit, and they had Allegory. And Enchanted Plumes was delightful. A very solid, very fun card game of building out a tableau. And I'm looking forward to diving back into this one. I showed it to Rena when it showed up, and she's like, yay! She's excited. It was a good game. I was really sad when I had to send this one on. And either way, that is going to be everything. A long enough video, and that's without a topic of the week, because we talked about all the Kickstarters that are coming up. Until next time, I am Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I'm going to go head off and edit this video, because I got to edit 3 videos to go up. Well, I mean, by the time you're watching these, the videos are edited inherently. But I need to edit this. I need to edit Renature, and I need to edit Paint the Roses. And I need to get all of those up. I think all of today's videos are being edited now. So I'm going to go say bye and then edit all these videos. Until next time, have a good one.